Hello and welcome to a Star Citizen Persistent Universe monthly report update for you today, looking at what Cloud Imperium have been working on feature and development wise over the last few weeks and what they're focused on now in November 2022 as we prepare for the 2952 Intergalactic Aerospace Expo and Alpha 3.18. The gameplay feature team continued to work on the initial implementation of the cargo refactor and the new commodity kiosk UI for Alpha 3.18. This will affect buying, selling and moving around single SCU resource cargo containers with the tractor beam after purchase and outside green zones. Gameplay features also continued to support the buying and selling of FPS refillable RMC, recycled material composite, which is going to be used for the salvage mechanics. So these containers are created by the Vulture and the Reclaimer, but also there's smaller canisters that are used on the multi-tool salvage tool variant. Updates were made to the prison, including the kiosk, which received new gameplay items. Alongside this, the setup and inventories were adjusted across all shops for new commodities that come with the cargo refactor. They also updated the shops to support the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo merchandise. The shop setup for Pyro began and is ongoing. UI screens for the commodity kiosk, mission manager, and bounty hunting progressed too. Planning and documentation began for freight elevators and subsequent cargo refactor updates, which will begin in Q4 2022. Documentation and investigation began into multi and large container cargo delivery missions that could coincide with the delivery of Tier 1 cargo. So that's not going to be with 3.18. Obviously, the Tier 0 implementation is 3.18 and then gets built up from then. The Manchester and Frankfurt-based teams progressed with hull scraping, adding the finishing touches and quality of life improvements for its balance pass. Additional time was also put into the fresh derelict harvestables that can spawn in space to make them look more worn and authentic. They also worked with the Montreal team to add some not clearly identifiable pieces to debris fields and helped the US teams with the cargo refactor. The team also worked on gravity and life support, and that's approaching its completion, at least from their point of view, with the remainder of the work on the resource management system that will bring it all together. Narrative also started work with the mission features team on existing air traffic control behavior. This will fix problems with existing behaviors while also supporting the newest upgrades to the system, which will then be standardized for any air traffic control characters and scripts in the future. They also continue to meet with the mission team to develop the new sort of investigate missions that we've seen recently. The writers were tasked with coming up with a sample mystery for players to investigate to stress test the foundational system and see how scalable this mission could be. In addition, they provided text for upcoming missions and open discussions on a handful of other missions that will be coming up in the next few patches. The team worked closely with the design and UI teams on some of the upcoming Mobiglass apps that will support new gameplay that's currently in development. The UI team continued to develop the new star map, particularly the underlying tech to allow them to easily display it in different locations, for example in ships, the Mobiglass, and potentially screens in levels. They also updated the controls and improved the look of the panels. Alongside working on the interaction prompts seen at CitizenCon, UI continued to adapt and bug fix the loadout system to ensure it works with persistent streaming. Mission features added final polish to various missions, including a new ending to the prison escape that will add further excitement and challenge. They then worked with art to further expand the Jumptown drug lab. It has doubled in size and includes a second entrance, second drug dispenser, and multiple windows and skylights to see inside. To improve gunplay on the interior, they made it circular and removed most of the doors for longer sight lines. So that will make combat in there much more interesting. Trespass areas were also updated so that lawful trespass and entering hostile areas are now different. The name of the org in control of the area is shown upon entering, and once access to the area is revoked, e.g. at the end of the mission, players are shown a countdown to when they will be seen as trespassers should they remain. The features team improved various existing features, including the ability to vault and mantle over a ledge, which can be triggered mid-jump or fall. This adds further options for the level designers when constructing on-foot traversal puzzles. Players can now also look up and down while moving on a ladder to help them see where they're going. If they stop, they can look around 360s as well on a ladder, which is pretty cool. The ability to move all items from one inventory to another is now in the final internal test sweep. The features team said a number of the features the team have been working on were shown during CitizenCon, and we really appreciate all the positive feedback received. The animation team began discussing bringing creatures into Star Citizen. They said, our team just signed off on the rig for the first creature, meaning we can finally start animating our first interactable creature. They also worked on various performances for the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo and gameplay for delivering a person from one location to another. The character art team delivered armor variants for Security Post Korea, SPK. Production started on Frontier workwear outfits and undersuits following work by the character concept art team. Ships and vehicles. The ship team progressed with the Argo SRV, moving the exterior through its final art stage. The vehicles feature team supported the docking and transit features. Both continued to be long-term requirements for the team as each release poses new issues, particularly with transit, which is likely going to remain until the launch of the new transit system. Multifunction displays work progressed well with the weapons, emissions, and ship models submitted and working in-game. Work also began on the new version of Quantum Travel, which currently involves refactoring the current feature in preparation for the rework. Support for Q4 ship releases has begun, with tuning currently in progress. Alongside this, the new ground vehicle tech was further developed and will be enabled in a coming sprint. Before this, issues with the Drake Maul driving like a tank will be resolved. Master modes progressed well in testing. So this is the travel versus combat, or SCM versus quantum control mode. The team confirmed the speeds for SCM, boost, and quantum travel, and are now testing racing ships and looking into how to balance disabling ships as they change between SCM and quantum travel. They said, we also used this opportunity to rebalance a lot of weapons, redoing the differences in behaviors we had reset for the Alpha 3.14 rework. Power and heat saw a load of work. The team are currently setting out their design support for the feature, as a lot of components will need to convert once the technical work is complete. Alongside this, the aiming refactor is now almost complete, with the remaining work focusing on implementing the new UI. A big step was made on control surfaces. Now ships gliding without thrusters has been reduced over the previous surface model. The new restricted area system passed its no-go meeting and is now enabled as well. The VFX team completed their work on salvage and the repair feature. 2 vehicles continued through the VFX production phase, receiving effects for thrusters, damage, atmospheric entry, quantum travel, and shields. The Arena Commander feature team made various fixes and improvements to Arena Commander and Star Marine modes. The team finished its integration of Alpha 3.18's deliverables into game dev, with some minor items still pending. A new concept was made for the dual mode pre-game, so this is one-on-one competitive ranked Arena Commander as sort of like a focus now. The new pre-game allows players to select from multiple ships outside of their selected ones from the front end, as well as see what their opponent has picked. This will act as the game's initial draft system. Following community feedback, additional ways to improve dual mode itself were discussed and tasked. The team said, we are very pleased that the team's direction already matches the public opinions. Every topic and issue brought up had already been discussed and scheduled by the Arena Commander feature team. Feature additions and bug fixing continued for the new Arena Commander 1.5 front end, including adding video backgrounds per game mode. The team also explored how to improve the first deliverable of the new front end, including changes to the layout and how to make the scene feel more like a simulation. Design finished their initial pass on 5 new racetracks: Snake Pit, Icebreaker, Ratari Station, Dunlow Derby, and the Lorville Gateways. A new dogfighting map, Jericho Station, was successfully playtested and is planned for an upcoming patch. The EU locations team continued to work on Pyro rest stops, making great progress on the internals of the stations there. They then moved focus towards the station's external arms. Work was also closed out on Security Post Korea, and progress was made on the IAE event halls and cargo. They continued their ongoing task of adding life to landing zones too. Lighting continued their work on Pyro, Lorville, the IAE, Horizons Racetrack, Security Post Korea, and derelict space settlements. Lorville received a lighting cleanup to improve certain areas, while the level as a whole was tidied up to bring it back to its original intended state. They also closed out various previous locations to ensure that everything is up to scratch. There was a huge amount of initiatives and features for Engine that are being worked on or improved at the moment. Various physics and networking improvements have been made. The Gen 12 renderer has seen fantastic progress and looks to see its initial release in Alpha 3.18, almost certainly. They're not 100%, but it's looking very likely. Entity streaming in and out have been streamlined. Damage maps and persistence for debris saw work. There are gas clouds, atmosphere shader, and CPU particle improvements. The team also closed out Rastar version 1 and fixed the remaining bugs and crashes raised by the content teams. So Rastar is the tool they use for placing outposts and buildings and structures and that sort of stuff in the game universe, and eventually that will be used by us, the player, to place our own bases, or at least an evolved version of it. There were also various fixes submitted for rivers, and R&D began on water sim and water rendering improvements. The online services team spent time completing several remaining features, including the new character repair reset process and how in-game transactions are handled. They also improved the new login flow process to allow for faster entry into the game. The friends list is getting some little quality of life tweaks, so that's planned to be included in 3.18, including things like having your friends list being able to be sorted alphabetically. Boom! That's it for the monthly report this time. But what do you think? Are you excited for the thought of creatures being in-game? They're working on creatures now. That's pretty exciting. The Intergalactic Aerospace Expo is super soon. What are you expecting to see? Obviously, this monthly report was quite bare on ship updates. It's as if they're saving a lot of them for the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo and around then. There's a lot of work on Alpha 3.18. Cloud Imperium are planning to get 3.18 out to live early to mid-December. Do you think that's possible and plausible with all the features they've got planned for it? Are you looking forward to the sort of updated, expanded Jump Town missions and those sort of events that will happen in the future? Obviously, they're making a huge sort of drug lab at Jump Town now, and those sort of missions are going to keep on expanding, and there's going to be lots of different types of them. Really looking forward to that. I'm also really looking forward to having a star map in-game. That would be awesome, wouldn't it? But whatever your thoughts, whatever you liked in that monthly report, whatever you thought was missing, please tell me in the comments below. And we will be checking out the Squadron 42 monthly report and combining it most certainly with AI and NPC updates. Although, as those updates get a bit more meaty, the AI updates, I might actually make that own video just for those updates, just because they're quite expansive now. So check that out on my channel.
Hello, I'm Winston Churchill, and I use NordVPN to defend the Internet Empire. We will fight the ants on the beaches. We shall fight on the internet. We shall fight the trackers and the malware. Whether we want to watch Netflix for another country or have greater accessibility to the internet, we will defend our island home. At any rate, that is what my program tried to do.
Thanks, Winston Churchill. What? What do you mean, Tin? That wasn't Winston Churchill? Point still stands. Go to nordvpn.com/BoredGamer to get yourself discounted NordVPN, or use the links below. Every month we have a ship giveaway. For November, we're giving away a Crusader Spirit C1. It's a fantastic looking multi-role ship that can fit a vehicle in the back or a load of cargo, and it looks really cool. It's got loads of forward-facing weaponry and a tractor beam. As it's a concept ship though, the winner will have a Cutlass back in the meantime as a loaner. It comes with access to the game and lifetime insurance too, so bam! Even if you don't have Star Citizen stuff yet, you can get straight into the game with this. It's all you need. Just comment on any of my videos this month to be in for a chance of winning. A massive thank you to everyone that has used the join button under my videos to become a channel member, and my Patreons. You guys are awesome. It really does help the channel. Please consider becoming one of those lovely people too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the verse.